Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast, Quarantine Edition. We are joined today by a longtime friend and mentor, Brother Phil, Dr. Phil. We have a lot of names for him, but Phil Stewart, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony. Pleasure being here today.
I've known Phil for a lot of years. I actually grew up in a youth group with his two daughters, and he was the song leader at our church, and he worked in the youth group. He'd go on missions trips with us, and so he got to know me as a young teenager, and he still likes me, so that's good. That's surprising, but Brother Phil, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to be around you. This guy is always positive, never seen him in a bad mood. And I know sometimes he's probably been faking it, but he's always happy, always smiling. And so he's always, what do you say? You're wired?
I'm fired, I'm wired, I'm not even tired.
There you go. And he's got a lot of one-liners, so maybe we'll hear some of those today. So, Brother Phil, we've been doing this series with business owners and people that do business and how this whole shutdown has affected them and their business and their industry. Mm-hmm. And so why don't you tell our audience a little about who you are and what you do?
Okay, yes. I work for a company called Vinyl Sash Window Company, and I'm a sales representative, so I basically work on commissions only. So I'm going into homes all over Michigan, maybe not 2 hours away, but within an hour, 45 minutes away, and we sell sunrooms, baths, showers, we do windows, so there's a lot of home improvement company that we do, and the company opened up in 1934, even though I'm not quite that old yet, but a great company to work for, a good product, reasonable prices, and it's exciting to be in a business that I do have a lot of freedoms. I do meet a lot of new people, and I'm going the old-fashioned way, out to the homes, knocking on the doors and meeting and getting to know people.
Yeah, and thanks to Brother Phil, Vinyl Sash is actually a client of ours here, and we help them with their social media and their website. And it is a fantastic company, and the people over there are very, very good and very nice. And if they hire Brother Phil, then we know they're legit. So, Brother Phil, you've been selling, or you've been doing this. You've been in the home improvement industry for how long now?
About 15 years.
About 15 years. Yeah. Before that, you owned
my own shoe store and shoe repair in Davison for 25 years.
You were the soul man.
I was the soul man. I saved souls.
Yeah, and he still do a little of that on the side. And then every time I come into church, Brother Phil will come up to me and he'll look down at my shoes and just shake his head, like, because they're never polished enough, So, but his shoes are always on point, always on point. So let me ask you this: was the home improvement industry, was it deemed essential by the government?
No, it wasn't. So it was kind of a step back for us. Of course, obviously, none of us have gone through this before, so it was like, what do we do now? One of the big factors for us is that we had a lot of big shows in Novi and here in Wausau, and a lot of different home improvement shows that we go to that we couldn't go to any of those. So our year basically stopped, and it hasn't really moved forward yet. So it's going to take some time to grow and rebuild what we've already lost, but we're all in the same boat as far as every company out there.
Well, what would you say, with these shows, what percentage of your annual business do you generate in these shows that happen right now during the springtime?
With our shows, we do a good 50 to 75% of our volume comes from all these big shows. And when you start off in late January, February, and March, gets everybody geared up to start placing orders and getting things in during the summer. So we're, like I said, way behind schedule, but we're all positive and we're all excited about going at it when we get a chance to really dig in and make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. I think, like you said, we're all in this kind of same situation. And I've talked to a lot of business owners that have really, this is a key time for them. Mm-hmm. And so, the impact of this thing, obviously it's been devastating to families and lives, but there really has been a phenomenal economic impact as well. And we really aren't going to know how much it's really impacted us until we get back to work and kind of see at what level people are at and if they're willing to spend money on things like home improvement. And in our industry, building a website for their company or growing their business, it's a challenging time. And so what are some things that you've done during this quarantine time? What are some things you've done to stay active or to keep your name out there?
Well, one of the things, we have a whole list of past customers and people that we had talked to at the few shows that we did get the chance to go to a couple shows. So we just keep in touch with our customers. You could do that at home, see how people are doing. And when you call up and hey, how's it going? I called a gentleman the other day just to see how he was doing. He's a previous customer of mine. And he called me back. He said, hey, Phil, when you're ready, come out and give me an estimate on a sunroom. But you just make contact because you got to move forward and keep yourself busy. And we've done a lot of yard work and cleaned up some things, and like everybody else has done. But you got to keep yourself active. You got to keep yourself moving. You can't stop too long, or you end up getting stale, and you don't want to be stale.
Well, that's true. Like the potato chips.
Yeah,
either.
that's right.
Well, Brother Phil actually is the Patch Club director, Captain Phil. So we said Brother Phil, Dr. Phil. He's also Captain Phil. My kids love it. They're in a thing on Wednesday nights at our church called Patch Club, and him and his wife direct it. And they've actually been making some at-home puppet show videos just to keep the kids engaged. And I just love seeing that people aren't just resting, although we've all gotten some good rest.
Sure.
But we're trying to do things to keep engaged with the people that mean the most to us. And so I'm wondering, I know how this has affected your industry tremendously, possibly, and I'm wondering, how has this impacted? Have you spoke to your coworkers and the people that work with you? How has it impacted them?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really talk to too many of our coworkers, but as of right now, everybody seems to be doing okay. We're going to be having a few people coming back here shortly and start getting things. The biggest thing is we have a factory, so I know the owners are working out as far as the distance and how that all works and stuff in our factory.
Right.
But it's all just, this is something that none of us ever seen before, and I
Out
know
of our control.
Out of our control, and I think there again, attitude will take you to wherever you want to go. You can, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you won't. So you got to keep moving on, have fun with it, enjoy every moment that you have, even though financially it's, I know, a real stress and burden on some folks, and there's overheads, there's people to feed. There's like, when is this coming back? Are we going to live or die through this, or what's
Right.
going on?
Right.
And so there's a lot of
Very real
politics,
fears,
a lot of
yeah.
real fears. And so, but we just got to stick together and help one another, but always be there to help somebody. If you lift somebody up and give them a helping hand, God blesses that, and that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've known Brother Phil for 25 years, and these things you hear him saying are not cliches. They're not things he's just saying because of the virus. These are things he says all the time. When you come across and meet him, he will have something positive to say to you, and he's a real people person. I think that's why you've been so successful in both of your businesses. So, how has this affected you and your family directly? Have you guys had, in a good way, and if how has it impacted you?
Well, I wish my wife would. Can't
Let's
go
let it
there.
out. Miss Kathy, we'll cut this part out.
Yeah, I mean, with all of us, we're not used to being around each other 24/7.
Yeah.
And we've had a great time. We've gone for walks. We've gone bike riding. So we keep yourself active. But, like any couple, you're around each other with their kids, grandkids. We've gotten a chance to get with them a few times. But, it's just
It's different.
It's just different and things. So,
Well, I have 6 at home. I get it. We love them to death. I think I made a post about a week ago. Said I finally figured out parenthood.
Yeah.
It means loving somebody more than anything in the world, and also wanting to throw them out the window.
Exactly.
So I get it.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: for Vinyl Sash, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but have you guys reopened yet, or what are your plans for reopening?
Well, they've allowed, as far as construction, to start opening the 7th, and so that's right. That's coming up this Thursday, so we'll be opening that up. I know we've had people call and wanting to know when we can come out and start giving estimates, and so gloves, masks, all the stuff that we need. So everything's got to be done decently in order, and we're going to do it right. And so we're excited about getting going, and I hope everything goes smoothly.
And we'll know more in the coming weeks. But
Right.
Vinyl Sash is doing it the right way. They're
Right.
taking their customers' concerns into consideration by gloves and masks, social distancing,
Right.
and I think that's extremely important. One of the things we've talked a lot about in these episodes is, regardless of how we feel personally as business owners about this virus, it's important that we really take into consideration how our customers will feel when they come into our place of business, or we're coming into their homes or whatever. So I'm glad to hear that Vinyl Sash is doing that. Well, let me ask you this. What would be something good that you would say, something positive you would say to other people in a similar situation as you or other people in your industry? What would you tell them?
Well, it's like we've just said over that this is all new to us, but more than anything, attitude. If you work hard on keeping your spirits up, attitude. I like to read the Bible, and the Bible talks about we don't need to fear, and of course everybody knows the slogan of fear: false evidence appearing real. Now there's real evidence of things happening, but if you let that dwell into your spirit and your heart and your mind, then you start going sideways. So you always want to keep a positive attitude, lift people up. You know that little saying: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
Love lifted me, so if you're lifting people up, keeping a good attitude. I go into work, I'm always lifting up the boss and different ones, and it makes you feel better too.
Absolutely.
So like I say, attitude is still the number one thing. Like the little saying is that shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you land among the stars. So really go all the way, do the best you can, and good things will happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Brother Phil. Thank you for coming on our show today. Thank you for sharing your experience during this. And thank you for watching. As my mother always says, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great today, my friend, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.